is the Goodall Show. This is my host, James Goodall. And we are the day after Thanksgiving, 2 days after Thanksgiving. And we are glad you're joining us. Episode number 2, I uploaded the first one a couple days ago, just as a test, and it worked. So we're here with a guy from Florida who has a lawn care business, has a business in general, and trying to learn, trying to get some knowledge, and I'm trying to learn. So I know that we're all in the midst of maybe fall cleanups. We got Christmas lights. I got a basketball tournament I'm coaching at. So we're all busy. But if you want to get on this call, if you want to get on a call, just email the show, thegoodallshow.com, goodallshow@gmail.com. And then also message me on IG, Instagram. This is how he found me. He was watching a live TikTok. And then he just messaged me, hey, I'd like to be the first one on. So here we go. Hey, dude, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay.
I just started up my lawn care business about 2 months ago. It's going pretty good, though. I like it. And I watch a lot of your TikToks, and it helped me out a lot with, like, my pricing and everything else.
Okay. Yeah. So 2 months ago you started. Were you part-time before that, or you just, boom, you just had another job and you just started?
So I was going to go in on a part-time deal, and some stuff ended up happening at work, and it kind of forced me to just go full-time right away.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to buy the rest of the equipment that I needed really quick, and I just kind of jumped into it, and it's building itself very quickly. So
yeah. Okay. So 2 months ago, you basically had no yards, right? Am I correct with saying that?
Correct.
So 2 months ago, no yards. Now, where are you at? How are you doing? Or how many accounts do you have now?
I have about 15 accounts now. Man. And they keep building. So like I got 2 emails yesterday for two new accounts.
Really? Yeah. So okay. So you have 15 accounts, and like, okay. So I'm kind of ignorant with Florida, right? Like for us 2 months ago, we're not adding, or even now we're not adding like any yards because it's Christmas lights, it's snow, it's that kind of stuff. What is it there? Like, is it basically all season, all year round, or how is it there?
So with Florida, it is basically an all season type of thing. Like we've only gotten into like the 50s like once.
Really?
Every other day is like 65, and then it'll be like 80 degrees the next day. And it's still been raining quite a bit, so the grass is still growing. Man. The only difference that it would be is during the summer, it's more of a every week task, and during the winter, it's every other week.
Really? Okay. So yeah, it's totally different than here, right? Like and that's what I try to do
100%.
sometimes. Yeah, like I try to be like, hey, get ready for the winter season. It's going to slow down, and then I realize I'm talking to some people that are in Florida who they basically almost never stop, at least.
Right, and it's like a totally different animal because I see you guys and you're like, oh, we're getting ready to start maybe hanging Christmas lights, and we're going to do this and that. You guys got all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
That's the one upside about it being extremely hot here all the time is the grass is always going to grow, and it's basically there's no real winter here. It doesn't snow, so we don't have to worry about any of that. And I think that's an upside for a lawn business in Florida compared to, say, where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, and for sure. I mean, okay, so for us, we're mowing 9 months out of the year, maybe 8.5 mowing, and then maybe half another month, maybe just like fall cleanups and stuff. But for you, so we're only making money 9 months out of the year, and then we have to find other stuff to do, which, can be a problem. Or, there's pros and cons to both, I definitely think that, there is a way to not get burnt out with only working 9 months out of the year. But then at the same time, you're not making as much money. All right. So you started 2 months ago, and you have 15 accounts.
15 accounts.
Okay. And then, so I guess I misunderstood. Were you working for another lawn company or just working somewhere else?
I was not. So when I was growing up during the summer times, my buddy, his uncle owned a lawn care business, and I used to help them every summer.
Okay.
So I did have previous experience in it, but my job before going back into starting my own business like this was I painted cars. So
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm tired of doing this. I want to start my own business. What
Yeah.
can I do? And I kind of kept reverting back to maybe I should start my own lawn care business. Maybe I
Yeah.
should start my own lawn care business. So finally I just said, you know what? I'm just going to pull the trigger and start buying equipment one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
When I get like a paycheck, I'll be like, I'm going to buy my edger, and then I'll buy a hedger, and then
Yeah.
I'll buy my mower was my biggest purchase. So
Okay. So what do you
my
have?
first-
Do you have a
I
zero
have
turn?
I do have a zero turn. I have it's my first mower, so I didn't want to get too big. It's a 40-inch Gravely
Yeah. Yeah.
zero turn. It's really nice. I like it.
Oh yeah.
It gets the job done. So, and
Yeah.
I also have a push mower for those backyards that I just can't get that into.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hear good things about Gravely all the time. Man, that's sweet. So you have a 40-inch rider and then a
Yeah,
push mower. Okay.
And,
And
yeah,
do you have a truck and trailer already?
I do have a truck and trailer.
Sweet.
I have a Dodge 1500, and I bought a nice open trailer because I'm also doing landscaping and
Yeah.
for those cleanup jobs. I don't want an enclosed trailer for all the brush that I'm going to be
Yeah.
taking away.
Yeah, I mean, I hear pros and cons. We've never had an enclosed trailer. We've always had a, like you said, to stick stuff on and
Right,
and
there
that's
was-
huge.
I was going back and forth with the idea of a closed trailer. I was like, man, it rains a lot here, so I'm thinking, I want to keep my stuff good, but I have a garage, so
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'll just pull the mower off of the trailer every night and put it into the garage. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's already worked out because I already had a bunch of cleanup jobs. So on top of the accounts that I've acquired, most of those started with a big cleanup, like doing all their hedges and everything else that was way overgrown, and then it turned into a monthly account right after.
All right. Yeah. That's so. I mean, 15 accounts. All right. So do you do those weekly?
I do them. I do them bi-weekly right now. Starting
makes
last
sense.
week, I just started doing them bi-weekly.
And then how do you?
I drive by each account just to see if there's like any
Yeah.
sticks or brush or whatever that I could just grab for them,
Gotcha.
just to kind of go over the top a little bit.
Yeah. No, to make them first impression and all that because you've only had it for 2 months.
Right.
How did you get the accounts?
So I've been using Facebook a lot. I have business cards. I walk around. I hang flyers on doors.
Yep. Yep.
Things like that. I mean, and really the flyers have worked a lot. It's a lot of walking, but it pays off in the end. So
Yeah, it really does, and I harp on that a lot because it's so cheap. Like you're not spending a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, you could buy. I mean, like I think we spent like on 10,000 flyers last year. We spent $800, but they were front and back. They were big postcards. And
Right,
$800, you could pass them out yourself. You're not really spending any money passing them out. And dude, those things work so well. So they worked well for you.
They worked great, and I didn't have the budget for the front and back and colored, so I just got regular black and white. It's basically the same as my business card.
Yeah.
It's like the front and the back of my business card on one thing, and stapled rubber bands to it, and just hung them on doorknobs.
Exactly. See, that's
And
perfect.
it did the job. So
Yeah.
I mean, I can't complain about it. And then also a couple of them are word of mouth. Like, hey, this guy started doing my lawn
Yep.
and stuff like that. And Facebook has helped a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have, I tell people all the time, if you don't have the budget, there's cheap ways to advertise. There just is.
Right. And like everybody's like, oh, you didn't need to get a zero turn mower. And maybe I didn't need to get a zero turn mower, but I had the funds to get the zero turn mower at the time. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it.
Yeah,
I already have the push mower. So I have the trailer, I have the push mower and the riding mower. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not get them?
Exactly. Like I tell people, like, look, you need to start what you can afford. Like, if you can afford a zero turn lawnmower and you have experience, then
Right.
go after it. But if you don't have it, then start smaller. But it might as
Right.
well. I mean, you probably those 15 yards go pretty. I mean, I don't know how quick they go, I don't know how big they are, but dude, having that zero turn is nice. What's the big struggle? What's the big struggle that you've run into so far?
Really just underbidding myself. I'm trying to find that happy medium where I don't give them a price like for a cleanup or something that they're like, are you crazy? Why would I ever pay that much?
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to go there, look around, and be like, like my first couple ones, I was like, I bidded myself way under, and now I look back at it, I'm like, man, you could have made so much more money. But it is what it is. It's a learning experience. I learned from it, and I feel like I'm about at the spot where I need to be now.
Exactly. So it's going to take you time, right? Like it's going to take you. Exactly. Some people are like, hey, how do you do it? I'm like, well, honestly, sometimes you just got to make mistakes. Like we priced yards this year, or priced jobs this year, where we're like, man, we thought it was going to take us 3 hours, but it took us 6. Well, we just learned from it, you know?
And not even just the hours that it took me. It was like my first couple, I feel like I was there a little longer than I thought I was going to be, and I forgot to add in like dump fees or something like that.
Yep.
Like, oh, I have so much brush, and I'm eating the money of paying for the dump fees for all this brush.
Yeah, if you have to go to the dump twice, that's whatever, $50 a time or whatever it is. I mean, the customer needs to pay for that, but that's just that's something you just learn on the fly. It's something.
Right, and I didn't think of it my first couple times. I'm like, oh crap, because the first time I just had the brush on the trailer, and I was like, okay, well I can still get my mower on there, and I can still do everything else. And then I did the second one. I'm like, oh crap, and then I go to the dump. It's $60 to dump it. I'm like, I should have just explained to the customer that I have to add the dump fee in there and explain like why it's this much.
And now you probably do that. Now you do that. So
exactly. Yeah. So now I count that in there. I'm like, look, it's going to cost me $45 to dump this. It's going to cost me this. Yeah. Really, I'm only making a little bit of money for myself. It's not like what you guys think.
Yeah, if you're charging let's say $500, it's not like I'm actually making $500.
Exactly. I'm making $500.
Yeah, you may be making $200 maybe.
And then it's like, I have a buddy helping me do this, so I owe him $120 too.
Yep, exactly. So like with the cleanups, is that I guess you have to know the market too. Like, some place that's high end spot, it's gonna be, the market's gonna be higher. So are you learning that too, right? Like, man, I could charge $60 a man hour. $80 a man hour, $40 a man hour.
Kind of depending on what kind of neighborhood you're in.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you got little upscale neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. The only thing with the upscale neighborhoods is they're usually really nice looking already, so there's not much cleanup to do there, and that's what I've learned handing out flyers.
Yeah.
It's like the only time you're going to get those accounts is if, I'm pissed off at my lawn man, so now I'm gonna dump you and I'm gonna pick up this guy that happened to hand his flyer out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that makes sense because my cousin, he has a manager at True Green, and he tells his guys all the time, like, don't go to like the really nice neighborhood. They already have fertilizing companies. They already have people who do that. Lawn,
It's like basically like when they moved in, it was like, we recommend this company for you because they do everybody else's lawn already and look at how it looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I mean, I can't hate on the guys for that. So you just gotta try and hope that maybe you can get one of them, and then their neighbor's like, hey, this guy does a better job, and I feel like he does a little bit more for them, a little more bang for your buck kind of deal.
Yeah. No, that's huge. So the pricing is one thing. The pricing is the one kind of problem you're learning, but you're learning that, right? I mean, I'm sure you got
absolutely. It's a lot of little things. It's just and like I said, when I was getting ready to start, and like before I even had an account, I was on TikTok just typing in lawn care. Mm-hmm. And yours just kept popping up. I'm like, man,
I'm sorry, man. I apologize about that.
No. I was like, this guy's kind of got it going on. I was like, maybe I should just click on his page and kind of watch and see what he says or what he's doing, and maybe I could, take a note. And I'm not positive if it was you or if it was somebody else that mentioned thank you cards. So like after my first month of mowing, I always send out thank you cards to them, and that's helped too because it makes more personal. Like, this guy really cares.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that. I don't know if it was a video I did, but I mentioned like last year. Actually, I'm doing on the podcast. I'm doing like a book a week, push out a book a week, and the book I'm going to do today is Giftology. And it's about like making an impression with your gifts. And obviously around this time, people are thinking about gifts. But like last year, we did thank you cards at Christmas, and then we put a magnet of my family, right? Me and my wife and my one son at that time. and we gave him a magnet, and then we did a little discount card from our school, and just stuck it in there. And like, I don't know how many people said, "Dude, this is crazy." You guys, it was handwritten. My wife handwritten it all too, and it came from her side. It came from like her angle, her side. Just thanking them and everything. But yeah, I mean, those thank you cards are huge, man. Those thank you cards are huge. But
yeah,
really,
that's all we did. That's all we did. We just ordered basic thank you cards, and my fiance has just been writing the thank you letters in there and everything. So
yeah.
And we've gotten emails back on them and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I want to do the podcast too is just like on TikTok, it's hard to find, like for you, like if you were trying to get some advice, right? And I've done a video before on it. Well, you can't search it. You can't be like, how does this guy think about adding yards? Well, you can't like look that up on TikTok. You have to like scroll through all my videos. Well, with the podcast or with YouTube, you can actually search that. So that's huge. All right. So the pricing you're learning. Anything else?
With the pricing,
okay.
I have found so a lot of the videos that I watched on like TikTok or whatever it might have been that I was looking at the time. They're like, oh, just, when you're on the phone with them, just get on Google real quick, look at their square footage of their lot, and then minus out the square footage, obviously, of their house. And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. But then when I started doing something like that, and I was like, I'm giving them a rough estimate of it, it never really worked out because, like, I would get to the house and it'd be like, I'd walk the yard and it'd be like, oh, well, they got this here in the middle of the yard, they got this over here. You go in the backyard, they got like little stepping stone bricks everywhere, and you don't really add that in because that's going to take more time for everything you have to edge around, weed eat around.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped doing that. I usually get an email and I'll say, we'll come out and do an estimate. But I know that once I get bigger, like say I have 100 accounts, it's going to be a lot harder for me to be like, oh, well, yeah, I'll just come out and estimate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And give you an estimate. But
so we do the square footage, but at the same time, a lot of our areas, we rarely run into that issue where there's a lot of trimming, or all that. Yeah. So how do you? So now you say, hey, I'm going to be out in 24 hours. Is that kind of how you do it?
Basically, Basically is how it kind of goes. Like I said, I got 2 emails last night, and it was from Facebook. I'm in a couple of groups of like neighborhoods, and I'll just post like my business, and I'll put some before and after pictures in there, and that's how I got those. Yeah. I posted them in we'll say 30 minutes after I posted them. I got 2 emails saying, "Hey, can you guys come out and give me an estimate?" And I'm going today to do that.
Yeah. All right. So like for us, when the square footage, okay, so especially in the spring, right? 2 years ago we were going out and pricing yards, right? We were going out there and doing it. But 2 springs ago, we passed out 7,000 flyers, and we were getting 10 calls a day. Hey, can you give me a price? And we're like, we got to figure this out. So we looked up. I don't know if you know Florida Turf Pros on YouTube. He's in Florida, obviously Florida Turf Pros, but he gave us the idea of doing it by the square footage, and then looking at asking the customers too, hey, do you have a fence? Do you have a pool? Do you have a lot of is there landscaping in your middle of your yard? So that kind of helped us. But yeah, I mean, if there's areas that you get out there it's a 6,000 square foot property, but there's 45 minutes of trimming, it seems like, so
or there's just or they just have bird baths or all kinds of stuff in the middle of the yards. That's really my main thing with wanting to go out to these properties, because in Florida I know it's going to be a lot different than where you're at. So it's I'll get there and it's just there's a lot of old people where I live, they have just all kinds of crap around their backyards. Exactly. If they have a little dog, they ain't cleaning up after it. Stuff like that. And I'm just I kind of want to add that into my pricing personally.
Yeah.
Look, if I got to deal with all this, I'm going to have to upcharge you about $10 to get around all the stuff that I got to get around in the backyard. Yeah. And it's always the backyard. I don't know why. The front yard will be spotless, and it's oh, this is going to be an easy lawn. And then you open their privacy fence, and it's oh, Never mind.
Yeah, forget this.
This is
Stink, man.
this is
I
gonna be
gotta
one of
change it.
those days. It's like, damn, did I really want this account?
Yeah, and that's where, like, at your point, you know, like when we were there, dude, we took everything. You know, like we did. We wanted we had.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had.
You
kinda
have, yeah,
to.
you have to.
Uh-huh.
You have to.
But there comes a point where, like, man, you got crap all over your yard. I ain't doing this. But yeah. So hey, so what's the goal? What's the goal of coming up in 2022? Like, you have enough trying to hire people? I know you got one guy helping you, right?
I got a buddy that does lawns,
Okay.
and he's not that busy. So when I need help, I can call him and he'll help me out.
Yeah.
But the goal for next year, I want to get to my 100 accounts, and then I want to hire somebody.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do up to 100 accounts on my own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think you could.
There should be no reason. I mean, I'm not in bad shape. I should be able to knock out that 100 lawns by myself. And then, like my end goal of all of it is I want 3 to 4 trucks on the road, and I just want to show up to the shop and work on the equipment while everybody else goes out and does all the mowing and everything.
Yeah.
That's the end goal, because if you don't have an end goal like that in this kind of business, there's no retirement. So
yeah, exactly.
you got to kind of come up with your own retirement.
Yep. You're gonna be mowing forever. So yeah, I mean, we
just finding good
this year.
employees.
Yeah.
So
I mean, really, like, people ask, how do you get a truck on the road? I'm like, really? You just got to find one guy you completely trust. If you can find one guy you completely trust, then you can send another guy with him, right? Or he can go by himself, but you can send another guy with him, and that he's teaching. But if you completely trust a guy, you got a one on the road, and then you can do one. You could do another crew. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I had a goal like a couple years ago. I'm like, I'm going to get 10 trucks on the road. I'm going to get this. And my goals have changed a little bit, now that I got 2 kids and all that stuff. My goals
kids
have changed.
Change everything.
I know, right? My goals change a little bit. I don't want 10 trucks on the road. I don't want that right now. But it's that's what's up. So 100 accounts. And honestly, dude, 15 in 2 months. I mean, I don't know about you, but for us, is there a spring rush for you guys?
So I thought to myself, I'm like, man, I kind of screwed myself. Maybe I shouldn't have went full time with this at this time, because the more non-mowing season was coming up. But really, it hasn't done anything. And I mean, compared to you handing out like 800 or 8,000 flyers, is that what you said?
Yeah.
I've only handed out a couple hundred.
Dude, yeah, exactly.
At this point. So, and I'm trying to keep it pretty close to my house. I'm not trying to go too far at this moment.
Dude, that's
but
so
once
smart,
I get to
man.
that, and the thing is, I keep getting people that are like, hey, I heard about you from this person. So I'm like, you know what? I will. But as of right now, we are focusing on property management companies.
Uh-huh.
And they've already gotten us 5 accounts on their own.
Really?
So that's kind of what we've been doing. I wasn't insured at first, and then they're like, you have to be insured. So I went ahead and I got insured. So now I'm licensed and insured, and everything is legit. So
with the process for you getting licensed and insured, just real quick, like, because I know people would want to know, how hard was that?
That was the most simple thing that I've had to do.
Really?
Just yet. I mean, literally, it was a phone call. The lady that I contacted, she looked at 5 different insurance companies, gave me a price for all of them, and says I would suggest this for you, and I just went with it. I basically got liability for right now.
Yeah.
It's like $1 million in coverage.
And probably, I don't know how much. I mean, you're paying under $300 or no a month?
Monthly. I'm only paying like $50.
Yeah, exactly.
48 something.
And you have 1 truck and a trailer, right? And you have
one truck and a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. So people ask me, like, hey, is it expensive to get insurance? I'm like, dude, if you only have 1 truck and a trailer, it's not expensive at all.
And it's not. And really, the price really comes down to you as your choices. Like, do you want to insure your mower? Do you want to insure trailer? Do you want to insure whatever it is equipment that you have?
Yeah.
They suggest if it costed you over $200, maybe you should insure it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I got my backpack blower and my riding mower insured.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, dude. Hey, I was just wondering. I mean, I appreciate you coming on the call for sure because,
Absolutely.
I don't know if I know it's being recorded and everything. I know you reached out. I don't know if I think you were the one, right? You're the one that was on TikTok Live.
Yeah, I was on TikTok and I had just commented on there that I watched some of your videos and they were very helpful. And you said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to start a podcast," and messaged me on Instagram if you are interested in being on the show. And I was like, "Absolutely, why not?"
Yeah. I mean,
you help me out, I can help you out a little bit. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I don't know if you have any. I don't know if you have any other questions. Like, if any questions you thought of before this, and say, hey, you know what, this would help me, or you just, man, you're just trying to grow, trying to get some, just have a conversation.
I think if it was about a month ago, I would have had 100 questions for you. Basically, all the questions I had, I got off TikToks, and not just yours, but there's so many out there. It's just like the internet is amazing, and like you could learn how to run an entire business off of just TikTok, and that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And like, exactly, like 3 years ago, I took over my dad's business, but like I learned so much in the first 3 months of taking it over than I had 10 years before that combined. You just learn so much. And then last thing is that people say all the time, how do I start a lawn care company? How do I start a painting business? How do you start a painting business? I'm like, you just got to start it. I mean, you learned it. I mean, dude, in 2 months ago.
So that was my big question. I was like, I have about 3 friends that have tree services, and I have another buddy that has a lawn care business, and I was always asking. I was like, man, what's it like? Like, how do you do it? Like, I wouldn't mind doing something like that. And they're just like, I really can't tell you. You just gotta kind of do it.
Yep.
And I would be thinking, like, dude, he's just being a dick. Like, why didn't you help me, bro? Like, I'm your boy.
Help me out.
He's
man.
He's like, listen, man. Like, you just gotta do it. And like, eventually, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
Yep.
So now I'm doing it, and I'm like looking at like, why did I spend so much time working for somebody else when I could do this for myself?
Yep.
And I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's, I mean, it's responsibility, right? Like, you decide how much you make. You decide if you pay the bill because it's you. But there's definitely pros and cons to it. I'm not going to say like it's all pros, but
right. And it's not simple. I mean,
it's not. Well, I don't know.
It can be frustrating.
Yeah, it can. It's definitely not. It's not complicated. It's not complicated.
The work
but it's
itself
hard
is not a hard thing.
Yeah.
Like
man,
it's
crazy.
physical.
Yep.
Yes, it's physical. Yes, I'm in Florida, so yes, it's hot. I feel like no matter what I was doing before was going to be hot. So that kind of was out of the equation. Like, that wasn't like don't do it because you're in the sun all day and you're working outside and it's hot.
Yeah.
Like, I worked painting and I was wearing a full body suit with a full mask and everything else. So I was already sweating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
And I'm making somebody else all this money, and I would put in overtime. Now, if I want to put in hours like that, I can, but it's for me.
Exactly. You're building something, and then like the feeling of accomplishment is such a great feeling. Hey, like we grew 3 yards. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's like we
that's
almost
a lot.
Yeah, we doubled our business. If we only had 3, we just doubled our business. Like, man, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. All right, man.
Oh yeah, and
no, go ahead.
I really appreciate you having me on there. I was just gonna say, like, the difference between like my mindset with wanting to grow my business and like my buddy that has his lawn care business. He keeps hiring all these young kids and paying them like the minimal money that he can pay them. Yeah. When I finally do hire somebody, I think I want to pay them, and I want somebody that's experienced.
Exactly.
Someone I don't have to be like, hey, you got to do it this way. Hey, you got to do it this way. What are you doing? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I would rather just have somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Pay a little more, which will make me more money in the end because they're moving a lot faster.
And really, okay, so I was listening to a book. I think, which book was it? It was a couple months ago, and he was saying the bad employees, right? The ones that don't show up on time or like they don't know what they're doing. The bad employees, they cost you money. right? They cost you $12 an hour.
Exactly.
But the good employees who you're paying $20 an hour to, they make you money because they're actually good employees. They actually show up.
Exactly.
You know, so like, yeah, $20 an hour is $8 more an hour, but if you add it up, it's $100, $150 more a week. And he didn't have any complaints. He knows what he's doing. You don't have to look over you don't have to keep looking at what he did. Like, dude, it makes no sense to pay.
Exactly.
And you don't want to pay someone who's not good $20 an hour or good money, but you want to find that good employee. Dude, that's such a good point, man. It's such a good point.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was, and I said something to him. I was like, "You ever think about just hiring somebody that really like knows this in and out, and like they could just go off with the equipment, like if you were sick, and just do it for you, basically, and you don't have to worry about it?" And he's like, "Well, you know, I don't really want to pay out the money," and that's exactly what my point was. Like you're paying him a little more, but at the end of the day, he's busting out way more than that fresh 18-year-old that doesn't know what he's doing at all.
Exactly.
That you found at the gas station one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he has no clue, and you keep having to stop and doing what you're doing to help him because he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, and one guy who knows what he's doing is better than two guys who are kind of slacking off. You know, it's just that's just how it is. We've learned that the hard way, but we've learned that we have us personally, we have good employees right now.
Right.
Yeah. Jeremy,
that
hey,
was
man,
just
I appreciate
I
it,
appreciate you
man.
having me on. My business name is J&S Family Lawn and Landscaping.
J&S,
if it reaches
Jeremy,
out
right?
to Jeremy Santos.
Yeah, Jeremy Santos, J&S Lawn, St. Petersburg, right? St. Petersburg, Florida. Yeah. Hey, man, so you've been in business for 2 months. You got 15 accounts. The goal is 100 at the end of 2022. I don't see how there's any way you don't do that. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude. I
appreciate you.
My first one.
I really do.
I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I'm learning. We're learning together. Hey, I know this interview. Or this back and forth. Not even an interview. This conversation help people or will help people if they watch it. So thanks, Jeremy, 100%. Man.
Hey, 1 year from now, we'll do it again.
Dude, yeah, exactly. 2022, we'll put that on our schedule, and we'll see you have 100 clients, and then you got a couple guys working for you, dude, and it's going to be awesome. Hey, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it, Jeremy.
James. I really appreciate having me on.
Yep, thank you, sir. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. Dude, that was a good conversation, guys. I mean, for a guy who started 2 months ago and has 15 lawns, some people ask me, how do you start? How do you get lawns? That's how you do it. You go knock doors, like he said. You pass out flyers. You do a little Facebook. You grind, and you grow. There's a lot to unpack in that conversation that I'm not going to do. You guys are going to have to rewatch it and rewatch it again. But that's what we're trying to do on this podcast. Just have a conversation with one of you guys every week and learn. Because the next person that comes on, he might be like, man, I've been in business for 2 years and I just can't grow. Well, now we're going to teach you how to grow. So that's motivation right there. And he talked about thank you cards, and I talked about Giftology, and then I actually have the book. I said I did it. I had the book right here, Giftology, by John Ruhlin. But dude, I'm telling you, this book, it's a very short book, like 150 pages, but they're big spaced letters. I highly recommend this book. We do, like I said, we do gift cards. We do discount cards from our school. We do a magnet, and we do handwritten thank you cards to all of our reoccurring customers, right? Every person we mow, 240, 250 lawns, every person we mow, we give them a handwritten letter, and it seems to work. There's a lot of good ideas in there, and it really motivates you to give gifts that matter. Like I said, if you want to be on the show, email me, thegoodallshow@gmail.com, or on Instagram. Message me on Instagram, and just tell me your name. I wrote just tell me your name, where you live, and how long you've been in business, so we can go from there. I'll post this as soon as I can, but that was a good conversation with Jeremy, and that guy's killing it right now. Better than we were doing our first 2 months of business, that's for sure. And last thing I'll say is that you can learn anything on YouTube, TikTok now, I guess, Instagram. If you want to start a business, just search YouTube. People I recommend is Florida Turf Pros. Hopefully one day I can have him on the podcast. But Florida Turf Pros, Mike Andes, if you're looking to grow, right? If you're looking to explode your business, Mike Andes and Florida Turf Pros are the two people that I recommend. Mike Andes has a landscape summit coming up in January. I coach basketball, so I'm at a basketball tournament. I can't be there. But if you want to just get knowledge, go to that event. Florida Turf Pros on YouTube. Very simple stuff that helped me grow. Hey, I appreciate you guys. We're just going to learn how to give on this podcast. We're going to learn how to grow, and we're going to learn how to grind. Signing off for now.